All right. Looks like we're live in a minute. So, or no, maybe we're live right now. Trying to get the idea of what this new software is doing, everyone. So, welcome back. I'm JTXRP, of course, and I have some great guests today who I'll just go ahead and bring y'all in to show you. And got Mike who just jumped back in. I'm gonna mute you, Mike. But we're
how's my sound? How's my sound now?
You're coming in good, Mike. We just started. I'm
All right.
introing you guys in. So, but this is Astrals on X, and their project's mission is to blend Web3 art and commerce via NFT technology for shared ownership experience between artists, investors, and professional media entertainment corporations. So, if you're wondering what that is, we're going to get into that. But first, we're going to meet the people on the team that created it and a little bit about their backgrounds. So, Jeremy, you were the first one I met with Astrals. It kind of all started with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into some of the other creators here as well. Oh, you're muted. I'll unmute you. I apologize. I'm unmute everybody.
Okay. Yeah, no, thanks for having us, JT. We really appreciate the time and effort you put in and giving us this opportunity to come onto your show. Yeah, to answer your question, my background is sort of like a jack of all trades type of person. I've been an artist myself, as a couple other of the founders on the stage here also are working artists. I've been in the music industry when I was younger. I've done visual art when I was going through college areas, but I've always been sort of artistic in that way and interested in technology. So really, just that's how I really found the space. And as a musician myself in my early 20s, just going through the avenues to get to be a signed artist was just, for us, it was just so daunting. And there's just so many friction makers and rent takers that are involved in the process trying to get to where you're trying to go to, which is, I guess at that, in the legacy system is getting signed to a label. So, in that regard, it's when this technology sort of came to be, it was just sort of very exciting, and it grabbed my attention very quickly, and it led me to do this project and help artists actually bypass the legacy systems in place and avoid all the suits and all this politics and all these things that go along with it. So it's just a perfect combination of what I was looking for as an artist when I was younger. So as an artist now still, and I still do music, and I'm actually breaking news involved in one of the releases upcoming on the label. But yeah, it's just a perfect combination of being able to blend art with direct contact with the consumer of your art or your music. So it's really awesome that we have this space, and Web3 is just something that we're really excited about.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, I guess we'll move on to Ink Killer.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. And so, what's your full name again? I'm sorry. I know you came in as
Charles Rattray.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's good to meet you, Charles.
Excellent. Good to meet you too. Yeah. I'm a storyboard artist and illustrator here in Los Angeles. I work on storyboards are when I do a movie, they have to I generally help with the planning of all the shots. So I work with the directors and stuff, and then I draw all the scenes they need, and then they give them out to the rest of the team so they can be able to make the movie. I didn't start out like that. I started out as an artist doing what's it called, mold making, and with this company called Stan Winston Studio. They're also based out here. But I was a kid when I started. It's been like 20 years now, that's crazy.
Moving on up, right?
Yeah. Just keep moving. So I started out with doing special effects with over there, and then then I just looked for other ways to be a working artist. So then, since I'm in Los Angeles, it has a high turnaround as far as where they make movies and advertising and all that. So then I branched off into storyboards. So that's what I do now. I just storyboards and I concept. I just kind of make up. I get hired to just make things look cool and then to make just come up with different designs whenever it's needed.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Where are you working for? Can you say where you're working for at the moment? Are you on contract or?
A freelance. So I've worked with pretty much every most every major company. I just got off a gig with Marvel, and just wrapped that up. And then I basically do like a story animation style storyboards now, which is it's just more drawing. It makes it kind of seem like a flip book. So it just makes everything. I just really get in depth with it to help flesh out the scenes because they turn those storyboards into these things called animatics, which allows them to see how the movie's going to be in like this drawn cartoon, not cartoon, but just a drawn form.
Yeah, it's like a prototype, right? You get to
Yeah.
see a little bit of the movie before you actually spend all the money to all the special effects and stuff before it's done.
Yeah, everything gets worked out that way. And so, so that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, thanks for being here tonight. I guess we'll move on to Mike Rebel. Mike, you there?
I think I'm here. I'm hearing
Okay.
it rough. I don't know if I'm my
No, you
service
sound
messing
okay.
up everybody, but you can hear me. All right.
Your audio's
Mike
coming in
Rebel,
okay, so you're good.
greetings. All right. Sometimes you guys are coming back like little whatever, but I'm here.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Mike Rebel. The music, let me make sure, because when you said yourself, the self kind of broke up, but I'm just going to talk assuming everybody can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mike.
I had a break. All right, good. I think it might just be the noise cancellation thing I got on my earphones, just too good. But yeah, Mike Rebel, I've been doing music for as long as I can remember. If you would say the professional capacity, we always thought about getting a record deal as a youngster. And, music took a lot of different elevations for me as far as like just kind of like the only other thing we can do from other than athletics was just a bunch of expression. So I was everybody from my neighborhood, everybody we knew would rap or sing or something, So I was always doing music. My everybody in the neighborhood was doing rap here and there. You can either, if you knew pretty early on if it wasn't gonna work out for you. So just battling. I was around the Project Blow, LA scene where they're booing you off the stage. It was like freestyle fellowship and all that stuff. And then when Ice Cube left kind of NWA, I always have to jump around in my musical world. There's a lot of significance. There's a lot of it in my story too. In the NFTs that became an NFT initially was just like a story of just like a lot of parts of my life were a movie in themselves. But this part that stands out from the battling was in that time in LA, it was real, like the riots, and it was real revolutionary. So, my father was really involved in the politics of the neighborhood, and still is. So that's all in my music. So by the time I was like 19, I got a record deal with Sony. I was kind of already a little more anti-establishment. Everybody in that world was like, "Don't get a record deal." They do it for a tax write-off, or they get you like that. That song was always sung for a long time about the evil record companies. I don't really subscribe to it too much now. I understand it's just business, and it's just more of a self-awareness and how aware you are of the value of what you do, and if you're aware of how to price that, and I don't think anybody gets robbed. I just think people are ignorant, and some people are less ignorant. So if they tell you that you do a bunch of work, work smarter, not work hard, wiser, not harder. So it's like you do a bunch of mastery and whatever you nerd out on, and you can value it however you value it. And if you just gotta not give a fuck or care if nobody sees that value at that moment. But if it's valuable to you, you hold it and just go do the next creation. So I got that ran at me or pushed in front of my face at 19. I signed with Sony Records, biggest deal ever. I thought it was it. I'm done, finish line, everything I ever worked for. My grandma in Alabama, fucking everything is done right now. And then I just had a lot more to learn, man. I was in big rooms with people that were, I don't care if you look like me, but it's just like they didn't know what I was saying or rapping. They just said it sounded like this guy and it's gonna work, and he's got this guy attached to it, and this guy, and then I would just be like, yeah, but I was sleeping on the streets thinking of this and that. That's just great. And he has a backstory. So then it's like, you get mad at them, but you can't really get mad at them. They just, okay, it sold last quarter of somebody that seemed just like him, so they go sell this quarter. But now to make a long story just more direct to your question, the opportunity that the digital world has allowed, all these digital signatures and imprints and everything that you do that's of value can be protected and like attached to you, and you can carry it with you, and it's like this digital world just gave artists the rights. So to me, it's not that much of a movement as opposed to like, not as opposed, but more so that it's like an obvious tech that it's a little bit more of a killer to ignorance. You know what I mean? Like it just let people go, oh, you can value yourself, and there's a way to do it. Just as a way to do it. If you can say that there's no other way to do it, that's just what capitalism is. I mean, it's just a game, and it's the people that can say there's no other way to do it but us are the ones that are billionaires. So we can't get mad at them because we fucking drank the Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, it's
that's what I feel like.
That's very true. The whole new digital, what you guys are creating, right? This platform that you all are creating is supposed to help artists. So I think that we'll get into what it is here in a bit, but I think it's just really important to hear from yourself and everyone else. I appreciate you're sharing your story. It seems like the music industry is pretty prevalent in y'all's projects. So it's not something that I claim to have any knowledge of. So, but it sounds like the other sides of the art industry that is really being taken advantage of. And I just saw, what was it the other day on Twitter? There was what was it? There's a video game voice actress. I forget what her name the game was, but she was saying how they wanted to pay her like, a couple $1,000s, and she made them, multi-millions. And it's just kind of like, what? Really? Like, you voiced the entire game and they just want to give you like a couple grand? Like, that's just really?
Yeah.
So anyways, I'll move on. I'll get off my soapbox for a bit because I want to hear from Johnny too. Johnny.
Yeah. Hey, well, let me say it's an honor to work with Mike and Charles and have them be like the founding artists for us. I'm not so much on the artist side. I'm kind of well, obviously family with Jeremy. We're brothers. I kind of got into Web3 about 3 or 4 years ago. So I've been pretty familiarized with a lot of it. I like art. I like helping artists that are talented make money from their talents. That's what I like. And helping people for no reason, other than, whatever, you know what I mean? That kind of a thing. I'm in the business world in my 9 to 5. I like how Charles put it. I get hired to do, he's how he explained what he does. I get hired to develop, market, and launch apps on the Salesforce App Exchange.
Okay.
And in my day-to-day life, and then and outside of that, I got my family, small family. We live in Orlando out here, and we vibe out.
That's cool. Well, I appreciate y'all being on here today. I want to go over, I think you all are some very humble people, and I think that I want to go and I want to show people the website here, because this kind of caught my attention. Jeremy, of course, mixed media, digital arts, fine arts, runs several successful businesses. I wanted to ask about, real quick, 30 seconds or less, tell us a little bit about those businesses and that background.
Yeah, so me personally, I've kind of, like I mentioned earlier, been the jack of all trades. I've been in a successful touring band when I was in my early 20s, and then transitioned into actually one of my other passions, which is tennis coaching. So kind of just some personal background information, and as you asked, but I do have a long career in tennis coaching, which took me all the way to the heights of Wimbledon, the U.S. Open,
Wow.
all the Grand Slams, the Australian Open, with really high level players, and I really kind of went a long way in that industry. So that's one in particular that, to answer the question. Um, Another business that I struck into for about 7 to 8 years of my life was having to do with private bond trading, which is completely opposite, right? But it just goes to my sort of, that's really kind of the person I am. Is I really find things that I'm interested in, and I kind of take it to the highest level I can. So that was another thing. I've run a lot of different businesses, not a lot, but I've run several businesses involved with either music or tennis or bond trading. So yeah, that's a little bit of the background on some of that stuff as far as the businesses. Yeah.
No, it's great. And you kind of elaborated on the media a bit. I just want to move on to Charles because I think, he says he worked for a lot of the, big businesses or whatever. Or
Yeah, Charles is the most humble. You need to ask him who he's worked for, what badasses movies he's been a part of and created the art for and all that. Just drag it out of him.
yeah, I mean, he's got stuff on here like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like,
Oh yeah.
I grew up watching that, so I think that's pretty awesome. And Battlestar Galactica. I'm assuming that's the newer one because no, you're not that old, so.
No, yeah, when they no, like it was the one with Katie Sackhoff and all them.
Yep.
Yeah, it was yeah, when I got in on in the very beginning stages, like with that, so I got a lot of cool opportunities to work on. I was helping design one of the those Vipers, and then one of the other one of the Rebel ships.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool to be able to.
Ship design is awesome. Yeah, it's one of the things I wanted to do at some point. It's cool to know that's now I have a connection. That's awesome. And I've seen there's some big names in here: Spike Lee, David Fincher. I'm not sure who David. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. What?
David Toohey.
Yeah.
He did most notably for Riddick.
Ah, Chronicles of Riddick. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then Ivan Reitman and some other people that I'm not really like super aware of. Maybe other people are because I'm bad with names. So
Patrick. Yeah.
And then just recently, I know this guy's not going to tell all of his achievements, but you were a part of the a film that just got released, right? The Woman King.
Oh, the Woman
correct?
King. Yeah, yeah. It was it. I helped board out some of the scenes in the Woman King. I guess I can say I'm on there. Yeah. I did a couple scenes for Ironheart, which is coming out next year.
Oh, next year, huh? Wow, that's breaking news. And then I guess you can't really talk about the specifics of some of the Marvel work until later on, I guess.
No, okay, we'll go there. Don't get anybody in trouble. All right, we'll move on. But yeah, don't want anyone catching on a live stream and getting caught. So
no, for sure.
Jonathan, over 20 years in the hospitality industry, you're the project manager.
Yeah, I where I apply my where I've been applied is in one vertical, my career, technology career.
Yep.
It's been in hospitality, so technology crossed with in the hotel industry. I came out of out of college. That's my first job with a company that's now acquired by Oracle, called Oracle. Well, it was called Microsystems, and now they're acquired by Oracle now. But that was 20 years ago. I've been in the industry the whole time, so I'm kind of I'm a hotelier tech type of person. It's kind of what I've always done. And I've danced around different sides of it. I've actually worked for hotel companies in the management of IT operations. For example, Viceroy Hotel Group, the Satai in South Beach, which was an ultra luxury place. And then, but for the most part, I've been on the technology supplier side in development, between development implementations, all facets of it. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Yeah, I see big names. Like, I don't even know about some of those hotels. I might look back at this live stream and once XRP takes off and you know go to some of those.
Let's go. The Wynn Las Vegas was one of the best. That was an interesting time. I was on site 2 years before I was on site in a construction hat opening that one up, and then I went and opened up their other one in Macau too. Pretty big experiences. So Vegas is So that's a little bit of where I've been at. So
Nice. And then we have Glenn, who apparently couldn't make it tonight, but he's, I guess, one of the developers on the project.
Yeah, Glenn is our developer. He handles a lot of the technical stuff that's beyond our heads. He's actually not a founding member, but he is a member of the team. And if we could have him on, it would be great. But it would be probably like 4 a.m. where he is right now.
Oh, okay.
3 a.m. So
Gotcha. Well, time constraints being are what they are. We'll get into some other members of the team of it because I heard some news that I also wanted to cover. But again, then back to Mike, if he's still there, for connection's still good.
I'm on the move.
Okay. But yeah, I see, working for Limp Bizkit, which I have heard of, and of course Dr. Dre, and you said you worked for Sony Columbia. That was, I guess, who your contract was with. And then you mentioned how you got shelved on here for 3 years. I cannot imagine how frustrating that would be.
Right, yeah, man. Revolutionarily frustrating. Ready to go up with a bomb to Sony. Probably threatened it a couple of times. But yeah, in the beginning, I was a young dude writing for Fred Durst and some of the other rap rock like crew when I was young, and I was signed with a production company that was Mike Elizondo. He ended up later signing, doing stuff with. I think he discovered 21 Pilots, or musically at least he was the first producer to sign them. And then, but I was Mike's first deal over at we had a production deal. We ended up signing to Sony, and he did In the Club at that point. So yeah, he was with the Dre camp. So I was with Dre around that time. Yeah, man, big deal. Just the same thing, and the shelving. Then I got it, and I went to after that. After the shelving, it kind of took me to a little dark place. Went back to my origins and the original plan of if I wasn't gonna do music, I didn't really think about anything else except probably like street stuff. You got to take her. And then I ended up going to fate and chance. I ended up in Boston, and the story goes that I was doing a little street vacation, but I did a little time, like a year, and then I got out, and I still had a record deal, and then I signed a record deal, and then after I was told go to Berkeley, go up to Berkeley College of Music. Somehow I met a dean of students who was on one of my projects back in LA, and just how it works, how God works. I was able to go to Berkeley for a couple semesters, College of Music, and it kind of pushed me into doing more like music production engineering, just theory and just like TV, film, and scoring. And then I just started doing that for a while. And being in Boston, I was doing overseas stuff, so I was released all the while rapping, but not really caring about putting it out in any media that was kind of winning. I just was always making it. I released a song in China when actually it was T-Pain and his cat Wang Yi-Tai, because they were, I look for rap in different markets. I was just looking for different ways to market what this music and this art was. So it's still, but yeah, that's part of my past. I got so much music. I just never really cared about anybody's media per se and anybody's kind of crowd. I was kind of like the best kept secret thing all the time and didn't mind just being a master of craft. So this allows this XRP and this blockchain and this technology just allows the kind of world that I would like for music, and then I think all artists kind of their own like art gallery, man, a way to just be in their own world and not have to worry about a release date and competing against anybody else, and something like that.
Hey, I was just going to ask Mike myself, like maybe you could share a little bit about how you got all these A-list, quote unquote, features, and you managed to like what was are there any good stories, and like what was the process about how you got Nipsey Hussle, Gucci Mane, T-Pain, Nelly, French Montana, and I think you even got Swiss Beats as well. How did you get all these
You know what's
guys?
crazy? You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? In a typical avenue, a medium, if I was trying to release in any other medium, there'd be like industry plan or he must have paid for. What was so cool about it, Jeremy, anybody watching that, it's almost like the how is almost as crazy as the story of my whole thing. Like I'm telling you, it really is, because people would easily, if I was coming on YouTube or iTunes and going the regular route, they'd be like, oh, he got a lot of money, industry plan, he signed with somebody. But like when you say, how do you get Swiss and all these different people, like the legends of every Nelly, T-Pain, CeeLo, all of which come with crazy stories. Nipsey, like last time I saw Nipsey was at the Simply Hosa. I even said that in one of my rhymes. I didn't realize. Like last time I saw Nipsey, he was at the Simply Hosa when I told him Lil Stevie said hit him. Like really, that was a real story. I saw Nipsey. I just buried my grandmother in my neighborhood, and Nipsey grew up right up the street from us. Crenshaw Slauson, we were Crenshaw and King. That's like the whole thing on the NFT. Also, like just we're really intertwined in the roots of South Central Los Angeles. Like my father is a member of he's the regional captain of the Nation of Islam. So there's 7 regions. He's one regional captain. He trained all the men that came out of here. And in the LA, the difference between the FOI, like that whole organization is they're really involved with like inner cities, jails, gang intervention, the police to prevent from just going in there spraying everything up. They've always used like the Nation of Islam in LA. And my father is the captain, the regional captain since I've been born. So he's 40 years in. So like I said, like back when I was a kid in the 90s, like Ice Cube to get out of his deal with NWA, you know, Dre had to go with Suge. Ice Cube acted like he was in the Nation of Islam, and my father was the captain, you know, then. So Public Enemy, like I was a young kid, go backstage with all them dudes, X-Clan, like everything I did with music had a purpose. So I was rebel since I was 7 years old. I used to question all the crazy ass extreme like Nation of Islam shit. So they'd be like, don't be a rebel Muslim. They'd always say that, like, be in line and organize, you know. And so I was rebelling against it. So I was always rebel. So I never just rap. Like I've been rapping. Everybody that knows me know. Like I don't need an industry to rap. I've been rapping since I've been a kid. Like in the African marketplaces in the neighborhood in my park. You know, we were the Muslims kind of in the neighborhood of like all the gangs and real vicious. So I was having to stand up to them with kind of like what I thought was wisdom as a young like gorilla myself, like fighting them boys, but always like the standout Muslim in that thing because my pops was who he was. We didn't have no money, but we had the force of the men. We had what we thought was God on our side. So I'd always been like an activist as a kid. Even when I did my own drug shit was crazy. Like I never did that to nobody else. I did a lot of things to myself, just like questioning myself, like doing as much drugs as I can on my own, like going crazy. I was on my DMX shit, like things chasing me, things ain't after me. I got all kind of gun charges shooting at nothing that wasn't there, bro. Like my shit is like schizophrenia shit. Like the cops be like, what? Okay, how do I give them a charge? And they give me like kidnapping and some crazy ass terrorist charge that never sticks. And I got to go to the county for like 3 weeks. And then I'm out, but I shot a gun and it was a hostage. And it was like, that's my story. So like, as I get to this extremes now, my extremes is more like, okay, I don't care. Let's release it here and like get a gang of people that feel this way and just go rebel on everything. And it's very See, this is how you ask how you get all them artists, and it goes to this because it is. They all know who my father is. I was actually dope. When they talk to me, they just like, you know, I went to Saudi Arabia and got real cool with some of the royal family because of the kind of artist I am. So I was like private rapper to them and didn't want to come out, so they liked that. So then I had a partnership with my partner who was the Prince, and we was just like, "Lo, we gonna give anybody we like some money and say come and do this." And so when I talked at Nipsey, he was doing his that record that he popped off on, and he heard from me. I'm like, Nip, you gotta come through, man. We balling now. We next. And he was like, what? That's why in my rhyme, he was talking like like on Millionaire Talk, like, okay, you got the
Yeah.
bag, you got the hustle, because it wasn't about just getting a record deal. It was about like, oh, you found a hustle, you found it, so let's win. Like you got that. So that's pretty much how it is. Like they all know who we are. They all know kind of feel my movement. It's only kind of about a time when I had my record deal. A lot of these people like that are executives now are running mail rooms, bro. So people know kind of what I am and who I am, and you know, so that's how it is. Everybody got a separate story. Every artist got a separate story with how they came across me. You know how life works. But it wasn't
Yeah.
no industry plan shit. It wasn't no pay everybody. It was like, yo, I like what this is. And then to release it, my bad, yo, I'm walking. We did it in animation because I didn't want to do it the typical way. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm walking in real time. I got my daughter with me and everything.
We can
But
hear
go
you
ahead,
good.
y'all. That's the story. Jeremy, know I can go on and on.
And
Yeah.
I just
So
want to, I would just
thought
quickly
I
want to
stayed in
add,
a certain amount of time for it.
I would just quickly add to that, that the one thing that may or may not get overlooked, because a lot of people haven't heard this content yet. Some of the early adopters of our project have been witness to some of these songs as previewed, but like, I would expect that a lot of these type of famous A-list artists get hit up for features to make extra money, like quick money. But like, this is different. Mike really, like, you can't, there's no drop off in the quality standard of the music between what Mike's doing and what the featured artist is doing. Like, so it's like, you can pay for a featured artist, but you can't pay to be on their same level and just be seamless. So that's one of the things that blew me away. And I've played these songs for many industry professionals that had no idea who Mike was. And some of them did have an idea. They knew who Mike was, but all of them just were blown away with the quality, man. I mean, these are all bangers. It's not like, oh yeah, these two songs hit hard. Like, they all are hitting very hard. And so we're just grateful to have Mike on board with this and be able to help him and get this music out.
Oh,
Because
I'm
it's
grateful that
really
you say it.
incredible.
I'm grateful that you say it, guys. I'm grateful you say it. Yeah, that's one thing that all these words and all this activism don't matter if you ain't a professional in your art. Like our Charles, you know, Ink Killer, like you don't have nothing that's better than it, and you don't have nobody with no more access than us. It's just we decided to grace our, you know, take our art and go in a certain avenue where we get more. You know, it's more of a statement, man. I have more freedom of artists, and people see it like this. You got to dedicate your whole thing and not ever put nothing else out anywhere else for this to be valuable. So you have to be a revolutionary, man. And I've already been that way. So this was a no-brainer to me.
And just FYI for anyone who's listening now, we're not going to get too far ahead of things, but Mike is already almost through another album's worth of music, so we don't want to get too far ahead because he still has the Mike Rebel series to get out there, but he is steadily working.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
we so far ahead, y'all. Please, we so far ahead. We all, please, let's go. We got stuff, man, all fresh, and we got so much stuff to add to the space. Like it's so much music and so many people that's gonna come through and get into these stories. It's more than one dimensional. It's always stories. I'm trying to get with Charles and get some of this stuff storyboarded and go a whole nother level of where the Mike Rebel thing is going, and that universe I tried to create. So we just started.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to hearing more of those songs. Are they NFTs now, or
no? We haven't minted anything yet,
okay.
But so we're able to bring special guests and VIPs into our metaverse spaces to preview some of those songs. We'll end up really kind of shutting that down as far as going forward up until the release. Now we won't really be previewing any of the full music right now because we want to keep it, for the launch.
Okay. Well, totally understandable. There's XLS20D is coming out, from my understanding, Halloween, and so that'll provide, hopefully, if it's this time, it's real,
Let's go.
Provided that's the case, I'm really interested to hear. We've talked about, the the amazing team y'all have brought together, and the founding artists and the project leads and so forth. And I really did want to make sure that we got enough time for y'all to share a little bit about your stories and who you are, because the team is a huge part of any project, and I think that you all have an amazing wealth of experience, and you're doing something that is extremely awesome for a lot of people. And I don't think people, especially if you're not an artist, I don't think you'll understand how hard that someone has to work in order to create their craft, to constantly refine it, and then maybe someone will appreciate it down the line, and then even pay you for it. And then so it's there's I went to art school myself for 3D art for animated movies and video games, so I went down that route a little bit myself, so I can relate with what you all are trying to do to a degree. But let's talk about exactly what you're trying to do, because you are creating, and it seems like you're helping artists mint NFTs for art, music, and film.
So that's one of the aspects that we are doing. But our overall mission and the vision and the purpose behind our project is really to address the current balance of power within the entertainment ecosphere as a whole.
Okay.
And just provide alternate pathways that have long been known to have lots of friction involved. And if, for example, we have several artists and the founders who have worked for the mainstream industries in the past and even currently. And that process goes where, the studio hires them and this pays them a flat amount agreed upon, and a product is returned to the studio. And then that studio turns around and makes, well, for example, I mean, if any tons of different movies or films or TV shows, or in Mike Rebel's case, music, and then they're kind of in control of everything in that process. So, we're trying to really restructure the balance of power within the entertainment industry. We're not just a PFP project, although we think PFP projects are great. We love them. But we're actually trying to get into this space to really affect and disrupt the entertainment industry as a whole. And so that's really what kind of separates us from maybe just a normal PFP project or a regular type of project that you'll see. But I mean, there's plenty of projects also that are addressing real problems in the world. For example, even XRP Ripple themselves, right? They created the technology of XRP and the XRP ledger to address a multi-trillion-dollar problem, and specifically talking about friction in the banking industry, cross-border payments specifically, and other stuff. And we're doing the same thing. We wanted to get in this as artists, but we also wanted to get into this to be able to flip the script and use the technology, be real future-minded and thinking about how we go about really doing something where we can shift the balance of power in favor of the artist over these suits and these corporate types who just cause so much of a friction.
And JT, maybe I'll add that how that materializes for artists in a positive way is the characteristics of these contracts they sign, right? Is that they come home with 97% of the mint funds. They go home, they keep it for the 70% of the 7% royalty, or what, so like they're getting paid, and it's transparent, right, and all that, and all out in front. So I think that's how it kind of materializes. And Jeremy's kind of speaking about the macro, but then
there's also, we have that section where we're going to be releasing our own internal art collections, whether it be visual, TV, film, music. But then that's another component, like you mentioned in this beginning of this question, is one whole pillar of our project is to then bring on independent artists, unsigned artists who would like to step into the Web3 space and bring their music or their art directly to the consumer rather than having a middleman in the way. So it's definitely two-pronged in that sense, where we're looking to unleash professional quality standards and things that could potentially be purchased by networks and studios in the future. That's one part of it. And then the other part is to develop artists who are unsigned, who are hidden talents, hidden gems, and bring them into our platform and onboard them with all of our resources that we've acquired in terms of all the partnerships and the relationships that we've brought to the table so far. You know, we're partnered now with pretty heavily with StakeX, which is one of the most well-known projects on the XRPL, and probably the winner in terms of a platform for rewards and yielding pools. Where we've brought on, as the A&R director of our music label, of course, Mike Rebel sits atop of that as sort of overseeing all of the music label. But in terms of day-to-day and getting out in there, we've got Shin from StakeX, who has just recently been hired on, which he's got a wealth of experience in working for Web 2 music labels, for lack of a better word, the traditional music label company. And then also he's extremely talented in Web 3. So he'll be a great addition. And then, of course, Sonar Muse, which is probably going to be the leader for the streaming platform for music NFTs for the XRPL, among other things that they offer. But between those two components, it really just completes our roadmap so far, and really about takes us and enables us to really move on with our roadmap into greater things, actually.
Sorry, I was looking for that Sonar because I thought I had it up. I was apparently not. So I want to ask this, because y'all are bringing people on, you're onboarding artists into what seems like y'all's label. It seems like.
Yeah, we have several different genres of entertainment now that we've brought on. We did start as a music label back in the early days, but as you know, it's been a year now. So we've done nothing but just sit back and grow. We have a professional comedian who makes content. He's an actor, a filmmaker, a TV maker, and a comedian. He's actually sold shows to Rise TVs on that platform right now. We're very excited to have him on the team. He's one of the newer artists we've signed. We have a couple of independent music artists that we've brought on. In addition, we're probably signing on average about 2 new artists every month. I think that's going to be ramped up very soon because of our new addition to the team. We expect to be amping and being more aggressive in finding artists. One way we're gonna really enhance our ability to do that is through our upcoming rap competition, which is really something that the rap competition itself is called Top Spitter, and we're partnered with Big Way. They've actually run a couple iterations of this competition with large success because the prizes are so big. And then the format is so unique. In fact, TV networks in the UK have already expressed interest in purchasing the Top Spitter brand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're actually getting in to be the 3rd iteration of this, and it's going to be a total Astrals and Top Spitter collaboration. And we're very excited for that because it'll be a resource for us to not only bring in new talent and expand our catalog, but it'll also be a way to get these artists who are out there who may not know about Web3 and what they can do in it.
No, so what are the advantages of them signing with Astrals versus just going to an NFT platform, or whatever XLS20D, whether it be Sologenic or what have you? Like, why you guys? Like, what do they get for, besides being a part of an awesome group of really amazing artists?
Yeah. So I just want to point out really quick that if Charles has to pop off, he's got a deadline. So if we lose him, that's why he's got a deadline. I don't even know if I can say for what, but he's got a deadline he has to meet. So if that happens, then goodbye, Charles.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I gotta bounce about 5 minutes. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
You're good. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, man. Most def. Pleasure.
But in terms of your question, what we provide is artist consultation. We onboard them into Web3. We give them advisement. We obviously white label them into the StakeX reward pools to bring value to their NFTs.
Okay.
We're able to produce artwork for them, the visual layers. We're able to also get them obviously into our marketplace connections to where they don't have to worry about finding a marketplace. They're always going to be able to go to market. Just everything technical that comes with doing the minting, the creating the JSON files, creating the metadata, promoting them. So it's kind of like, in some ways, like a traditional music label in terms of that. But one thing that we do expect from the independent artists, as well as all the artists, including my own band, which will be releasing on the label as well,
Cool.
is we have to get out there as individual artists or bands or whatever, and we have to actually make an effort to get in there and show the community who we are and who you are as an artist, because it's not like you can just hide behind a label in Web3 and just come out and then boom. We believe that we're going to involve some of those traditional forms of resources for the artist, but at the same time, they're going to have to take a little bit upon themselves to promote themselves, enter some Web3 spaces on Twitter, get in there and enter some promotional things and do a space tour and just get in there and get your hands dirty with the community.
Gotcha. No, it's really cool in terms of like y'all will. It sounds like it will be kind of exponentially based on each one of yours growing popularity. You help to build up each other, so sounds like it's going to be pretty cool. And then, of course, your what everyone cares about in the Web3 space is, how do I get rewarded, right?
Yeah.
So I want to get into a little bit about the project mechanics and there's different projects, right? Because we have Charles. I know you have to drop soon, but you have your Mayhem Mob collection that kind of has its own shared revenue and ownership model. And then you have, Mike Rebel, who is going to be sharing 10% revenue for 6 different NFTs. So
Yep.
it seems like the Astrals itself is going to be a continually revenue sharing model. Is that kind of how things are working?
Yeah,
Or...
we really want to use this technology, and so we didn't want to just throw out art out there and say consume this and don't benefit at all, because we feel like the whole point of doing this is to build a community and share in the revenue so that we have something different and unique. So when somebody says you're going to own Mike Rebel and Gucci Mane, you're going to own this song, it really means you're going to own that song. It might be a micro ownership and micro revenue or shared revenue percentage, but you're going to actually own it, to where the difference between that and going to buy it in a CD store or download it from a platform is completely different. You're just left to be only a consumer. So that model we wanted to put throughout the project. Of course, we feel like it adds value to each of the collections. And so there'll be different percentages at times and different numbers involved, but I think there will always be a component of shared revenue, whether it be from the music side, multiple forms in terms of streaming and also secondary sales royalty.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of the art, we can let the consumers or the buyers or the investors, we can let them actually be rewarded in that manner too, through secondary royalty sharing.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds, love to hear more. I see these two in terms of their collections. I don't know if you'd like the comedian or some of the other people that you mentioned are also that shared revenue model, and where do you find details about them?
Yeah, so we haven't really formally announced Simon Essler. I guess we just did right now.
Dun dun dun. Okay.
But he's a Canadian artist who we just haven't launched him officially yet, but he's definitely on board. All of our artists that are coming on board will be providing some form of shared revenue ownership with the community holders. So it'll be a model that we'll try to implement with all of our projects that we onboard, because we just feel like otherwise, I don't know, it feels like it doesn't feel like you're giving much utility the other way around. And somebody says you own something, you actually own it in our project, whereas you don't just mint it and then it sits in your wallet and you're like, yay, I got something in my wallet. It has a fixed supply and hopefully it'll go up in value. But we actually wanted to be able to have the holders be a real part of the project.
Gotcha. No, I mean, so you have multiple projects with shared revenue models for NFTs. You have the Astrals NFT collection, which is itself its own collection, not necessarily just the individual artists.
If you
right?
go to the gallery, you can see some of what that collection, is going to resemble. I would say
gallery. Where is that?
right there, our Astrals gallery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that'll just preview some of the art in the Astrals Genesis NFT. Now, this collection is the Genesis collection for the project. What it will stand to be is basically the ultimate utility token and entry token to the project. So holding one of these, there's only 420 of those available, and they're about 74% sold out at this point. But holding that particular NFT is the perfect entry point to the project, because it allows you to benefit with so many different rewards in terms of secondary sales royalties to the holders, in terms of access to in real life concerts or events, in terms of earning XRP passively, in terms of earning Aurora, which is our ecosystem native token, earning that passively, which has that token has a lot of utility behind it and will be able to be used in so many different ways to provide value. So the biggest benefit or reward in holding the Genesis NFT, the Astral Genesis NFT, is that you're going to receive 10 airdrops of NFTs as rewards for holding. And not just an NFT that we whip up and just mint. And then these are going to be NFTs that will all be rewarded, and each of them are going to be tied to an actual collection, not just a random NFT that I just whipped up and then made 1,000 of them and just airdropped them out. There's going to be a market. They're going to be NFTs that are going to be listed on a marketplace inside of a collection. So we feel like,
are these collections of the artists, or these collections? It looks like we lost Mike too, but
yeah, we may have lost Mike. He may have had audio or visual problems there. But yeah, the Astrals NFT collection is going to be rewarding in NFTs that are going to be coming from 10 different artists. So you will be able to, as long as the supply is a certain minimum. So I think we said it was going to be a supply of 2,000 or 3,000. I have to go check for sure. If the supply is at a minimum of 2,000 or 3,000, then that collection is eligible for a reward to the Astral NFT holder. So it's I just wanted to make that distinction, because sometimes people are like, oh, okay, we get free NFTs, okay, but these are actually NFTs that are going to be a part of collections that get launched, and they'll all be listed on marketplaces. So there's a little bit of a distinction there.
I'm sorry, because if I'm confused, the audience is confused, and so I'm gonna ask and break this out here. So you get the Astrals NFT, which gives us an airdrop. The Astrals NFT alone. Let's just break that down for a second. You get royalties from holders from if you buy the Astrals NFT. So
you get royalties from secondary sales, and
secondary
sales. That's going to be paid in XRP.
Okay.
You also get rewards for holding on a monthly basis, or we could do daily. I think we're going to do daily also of our ecosystem token called Aurora. That token will have lots of utility and value behind it. I wouldn't want to sidetrack now, just to stay on topic. But and then additionally, from getting rewarded in XRP and getting rewarded in Aurora, you also are going to receive 10 NFT airdrops of NFTs that are coming from actual collections, not just some one-off NFT.
But that's why I want to stop at actual collections. These are collections that are created by artists on your platform,
right?
Or just like
as
a collections. I just think a group of pictures. Like that's all I'm thinking of.
So as opposed to just if I went to a marketplace or I just minted any old thing and it didn't get listed, it will be a liquid asset. That's what it means. It will not just be an NFT that I mint and just make a bunch of copies of and send it out. It's going. It's
going to be part of a verified Astrals collection, and for all collections over X amount in supply will be applicable for. That is that distinction, because I think that
so
might
songs.
Oh yeah,
songs, digital art,
music, NFTs, visual. It accounts for all Astrals content collections that are verified in our as an Astrals collection that are over a certain supply size are applicable for the.
So with these, go back up. Let's just use these as an example.
Yeah.
Is Charles Rattery's collection, and Mike Rebel. Obviously, I'm seeing 6 NFTs here.
So let me clarify.
Artists.
Yeah. So for the Mike Rebel collection, because the rewards for holding Astral NFT, the rewards for the NFT rewards that you get, the airdrops, Mike Rebel is one artist. So you'll have to choose between. You'll only get one of his 6.
Okay.
So it's per artist.
Hog 'em. Got it.
So it's per artist.
Yeah, per artist.
And I just wanted to make the distinction. Maybe it sounded confusing, but the distinction between we could easily just create some art and mint it.
No, I'm not trying to say. I'm just trying to understand. Like, hey, these collections, and when I hear collection, I'm thinking of it usually like someone makes a collection of 5,000, apes or something.
Right.
And that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a collection.
Nope.
From artists you have onboarded.
Yeah.
And and I'm trying to make the distinction here that these airdrops of NFTs are also going to have shared revenue models attached to them, is my question.
Yes, because there'll be actual collections that we onboard. So it is actually, So it is actually from collections that are launching on our platform. They're not one-off NFT rewards. Like they are the NFT rewards that go with the Astral NFT are going to be from collections that are done by our artists, not just one-off NFTs. You know what I'm
going to help you guys make a flow chart for this, because I feel like this is really awesome, but it's unless it break it down visually, it may not get to some people. So, but that being said, like I'm really excited about that, and I think this is really cool, and that because you have an NFT that has all this value stacked into it, and then you get 10 NFTs for being in early and getting one of those Astrals NFTs.
Yes,
right.
For holding an Astral NFT, you're going to get a free NFT from all of the ongoing collections that launch under our label.
One per artist.
Okay, and that's really cool.
One per artist.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I understood that. Now, where does this rarity factor come in? Because I want to understand. Like you got all these great artists you've onboarded, but now you're ranking them, or how does that work?
So the rarity that you're showing up on the screen is really just related to the Astral NFT collection. So that little section right there on the website is referring to the Astral NFT collection, which really is the main utility NFT of the whole project. And and that's a collection of 420 sort of spaced out geometric mathematical type of yeah, you see there's also some spaceships added in there too. But that collection of 420 has, even though they're one of ones, each one of those is a one of one. But we've managed to insert rarity into the collection.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's different levels. It may not necessarily reflect the art in there, but there's different rarities of the NFTs.
So the way it's reflected is in the spaceships. So if you have a spaceship, then you are in the rarity factor. And then amongst the NFTs in that collection with spaceships, there's 3 different levels of rarity if you do happen to get a spaceship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's randomized. I'm not sure if I'm getting a spaceship or not. So
I think there's about 62 out of 420 that have been that have a spaceship in it. And among those 62 NFTs, you'll have different levels of rarity among your spaceships.
Okay. And how does this affect the revenue? Like, what does the rarity do towards the revenue?
So we haven't said officially whether or not the rarity itself will affect the revenue sharing, but it's something that we're not really going back and forth with, but we're thinking about it. But as of right now, the rarity of your Astral NFT will not affect sort of the reward and all that when it comes to the passive income of XRP or Aurora or whatnot.
Okay.
But I would say that it's not. It could, but right now it does not.
All right. So what is, besides being rarer, they all share the same equal value. What is the point of the rarity?
Well, there's a scarcity within the designs, so it's really just a scarcity thing for the rarity. Just like many NFT PFP projects, they don't do anything different, but you might only have a couple NFTs that have this certain attribute, right?
Okay.
And so that's just normal attribute scarcity.
You can delete that entire line. Everything else is amazing to me. So I mean, I'm just kind of curious, but like, that's just me. But I'm not too into NFTs. I think that I'm gonna be into these for sure. Again, none of this is financial advice for anybody here, but I'm excited about this, and like the XRP rewards. And again, I brought this up because you're staking on StakeX for rewards and XRP. I don't know. Do you have a percentage yield for that, or like?
So we don't have the numbers on percentages all the way, but eventually, I mean, what will happen is the holders will be able to obviously go onto the StakeX website and simply what's called soft stake. I mean, the NFT. They'll basically quote unquote upload the NFT to that site and choose our pool, and then from there, they'll start earning XRP rewards daily.
Okay, so what's generating that XRP? Is it the sales of your NFTs?
It's the sale and the secondary market of the NFTs. And there's an initial amount that we put in there to kick it off.
Okay. Just trying to understand.
Yeah, that's a great question.
And Sonar Muse, this is news to me. They're a music NFT stream that rewards in XRP, I guess, when people listen to it, or where does that XRP come for it, and how does that work?
So great question. They are a Ripple grant winner. They have been very much building out a music platform that's going to allow artists to monetize their music files with streaming. How they do that is in order to use a lot of the features on their website, users have to subscribe to Coil. Coil is a subscription-based platform that's out there. You can check them out on Twitter to get more info. But but they have systems in place to pool that money into the Sonar Muse. And then that's how micro payments. Now, these are super micro payments. So just like normal streaming platforms, you got to do a lot of streams to
We
really
tested
make
this out, and we tested this out with the guys for a little. We did some beta testing with them. It was great. It was funny we saw the money showing up in the interledger payment pointer right there in the artist's wallet. It's very interesting how it was working. And yeah, it's micro payments and it's very small decimals, but you know what I'm saying?
Hey, it adds up, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
right.
XRP, so you never know. You know,
Yeah.
it might be bigger than you think
Yeah.
as things turns out. So
We actually tried it with one of our independent artists. We actually used his actual wallet. We hooked it up, JOC, one of our independent launch artists that's coming on the independent side of things. And yeah, it was working. He showed it. He's like, yeah, his balance was going up. So yeah.
oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, it's really cool. I think he's been working a little bit and not really posting a lot because I think he has a lot of NDAs that he can't reveal. But people should look out for Sonar Muse. They've been tapped and they have a lot of things going on. He wouldn't even tell me who they're NDA'd with. Obviously, it's an NDA, right?
Yeah, right.
But there's some exciting things coming for them, and they have a music store. They have a streaming platform, and artists can monetize their music NFTs on there easily, and as well as mint. They can mint NFTs, music NFTs, on there as well, very seamlessly, and immediately can activate the streaming.
Cool. What about Astral Labs? I'm guessing that's you guys, right? So what's this multimedia lab?
So Astral Labs is something that we are preparing for full release once, I guess, probably by the end of this year, but it's already an entity now, as you see. Astral Labs will essentially be our resource for artists who we onboard, and probably even artists outside of our purview that want to come in and use our skill sets. So
Okay.
it's going to be consisting of lots of artists in Hollywood. These are connections from Charles, of course,
Okay.
who are going to be as individuals experts in their specific fields, whether it be script writing, whether it be storyboard art, whether
we've actually even done some of that already with some of our independent artists. They've had one-on-one sessions with these professional artists, Charles and Mike. I've had some of our independent hip-hop artists meet directly with Mike, give guidance, and then we also provide, myself in particular, these guys have to be onboarded to Web3, and girls.
Yeah.
These people have to be onboarded to Web3. It's not like it's a flick of the in their own, so we take the time. That's hours, that's sessions with them, making sure they understand, hey, eventually you're going to sign a digital contract and you're going to need to know how to look at it. Know what you're signing, digital signing, because their wallets will be registered to receive commission, obviously, for their music. Yeah. And all that goes into that kind of a thing is the kind of things we can mix up in the lab there. You know what I mean?
Okay. Interesting. I mean, there's lots of different moving parts to what you're doing, and it's really multifaceted. I think it might fly over a lot of the community's heads in terms of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the rewards that are out there. Because the reward system, I mean, usually there's there's a percentage yield here. There might be some what do you call it? Some secondary sales, but y'all are doing so much that I don't feel like people, and it's rewarding. A lot of it seems like an XRP, but I also want to look at what your the other Aurora token. We'll get to that here in a second, because y'all have all these different revenue models that are flow. It almost seems too good to be true. And
right.
Just to be completely honest,
I know.
So you're gonna give me all this, and I just do what? I give you 750 XRP. What was it?
This is funny, JT, because I'm in the Web2 world. I'm always telling Jeremy something similar. Look, this is how this can come across. So it's true. It is true. There is so much going on, and Jeremy though is definitely powering it though. I can say for sure. But yeah, I agree. I think helping us clarify things and simplifying things like we're doing here tonight, things like this are needed.
Well, that's awesome. I just think again, I would love to get back and maybe we'll get in touch and create that flow chart or something and really just do a quick breakdown for people so they understand. I'm sorry that seems like we're not having too many questions tonight. And I think this might be the reason why is that again, there's so much going on. You're creating this platform for artists. You're trying to change the record the record art industry so that artists are getting a fair shake, which is awesome. There's the NFTs that get so many different awards, and then there's the Astrals NFTs that have all this value locked in, as well as the future NFTs that tend to build that flow into this. And then there's again the third part of it which we haven't even covered is Aurora token, and I want to understand this because it says it can be used to purchase the NFT collections, which I was thinking that was going to be XRP. So I'm a little confused there.
No, so that'll be something. The Aurora token will not be initially available to purchase to use to purchase our NFT collections.
Okay.
But eventually, and you see some platforms already supporting this, some marketplaces already supporting this. By the way, we're going to be on NFT Master.
Yeah, I saw it on here. I'll just go ahead and flick over there so people can see.
And you can also go to the tokenomics page on the website for a different view of the Aurora tokenomics. It's all graphically displayed on that.
Okay.
Page.
Yeah. So, but eventually, this will be something that will event once we build in and we really activate all the utility. We do see the future of it being used to purchase NFTs. Now, of course, Aurora is paired with XRP, so it's not too far distance away, and obviously it'll be proportioned correctly in terms of the amount that will be needed. But it will serve eventually as a utility in being able to purchase some collections, not all collections, in the future. Okay. And then, of course, some of the other utility behind it is Charles, for example, will be enhancing. We're going to be doing. We actually have total control over our IPFS, so all of our NFTs will be completely controlled by us. And Aurora will be able to be used to enhance NFTs, basically make them like turn them into one of ones or turn them into something that you couldn't imagine. And of course, Charles Rattray, being the artist that he is, that brings a lot of value to the Aurora token. But it'll also be able to be a governance voting token. For example, we're going to be using it in our upcoming rap competition that'll span over the course of 3 months. And people will be able to have a vote in round to round who gets through. Well, there'll be a community vote, and that community vote will be done in Aurora for the governance of that. You'll also be able to enter into one-of-one NFT auctions. A lot of fine art will be made by not only Charles, but some other artists that we can't release now, but we'll be bringing on in the future who sell their work. Some of their work sells, for very high amounts, and it's sort of gallery quality and whatnot. We'll be able to offer ways into those auctions with Aurora as well. So events, you'll also get to use it in the merch store that we're building right now. So we just want to have it as an ecosystem, a native token that we can use to power our little economy.
So you have X Astral as the token, but that's a representation while we're on, I guess, XLS for, I forget the term, but
that's the IOU token.
Yeah, that's the IOU token. That's what I'm trying to make sure. It's going to say, like, I was waiting for, like, NFT to be here so that everything else made sense to me. But this is, I get where this is going. This is what this part from the white paper where you're talking about the Astral NFT collection. So,
Yep. So that's the IOU token X Astral. And in fact, we're going to actually put everyone through to you must actually in at least the first 10 days that we launched our Astral NFT, the Genesis NFT, you'll actually have to go and get it from the DEX and then swap it for an Astral NFT. And so eventually,
that's a barrier to entry. Okay, but
yeah,
I mean,
eventually,
not too hard, but
yeah, it's one little extra step, but at the same time, people need to get involved and know how to do the DEX as well. But it makes things really simple and streamlined for us. And then eventually, though, after a set amount of time, we'll shut down the token and it'll just be a mint button on the marketplace. But we hope to really get through the sale launch of that Genesis Astral NFT with the token being swapped for it. So that's why there's a token for the IOU.
okay, no, that makes sense. In terms of Aurora, I'm still, I guess, trying to understand that's it's going to be used to purchase the NFTs.
I can give you an example. So
Okay.
it's going to be used to purchase some NFT collections in the future. So you'll be able to use it to purchase some NFT collections in the future. For another example is, for example, Charles Radaray's first NFT collection, Mayhem Mobsters. He's going to do either 5,000 or 10,000. We haven't actually narrowed it down. It's basically looking at market conditions for that answer. But we'll soon come to the determination on this exact supply. But once you buy one of those, you'll be able to then, if you want to, enhance that NFT in a crazy way. And what we call, or what he's calling, the transformation chamber, which is just a branded way of saying he's about to take your NFT that you bought and make it into something completely way above and beyond.
How so? Or is that unreleasable yet?
No, it's not. It's animating it, possibly adding a custom background. And I really can't say what he'll actually do with the actual character because
He's going to customize it artistically. It's it's a visual or a
yes.
Okay, so it's not something that's computer generated. It's not something that
no, he's going to work on
some mixing mechanic in a video game. It's going to be him doing something to it, and it's okay
in a 1-of-1 format to where he's if you come and you enter, let's say you use Aurora and you want to enter the transformation chamber, you would then we set up a process for that, and he would actually go in one by one and upgrade your NFT art
just in a queue. Okay.
Yeah.
You have a service level agreement, how long that's going to take, or is that still I mean, it's a lot of work for an artist depending.
Well, it depends, but that's why we've set up Astral Labs. It's not just going to be Charles. It'll be guys who are in his peer group. I mean, you have to understand, Charles, all these guys around Charles in the industry for 20 plus years are experts in the field, and they're all just sitting there waiting for Charles's first collection to drop. If he has any success whatsoever, which we're hoping that he does, then all of these guys have already verbally committed to come on and start something that is just unbelievable. We're talking like our own production studio for anything that we could imagine. So these guys are all just looking in and waiting for us to really kick off the project. And now we're about 4 or 5 days away from being able to do that.
Right.
So we're getting, we're getting close to that time where it'll be very exciting to see what comes out of Astral Labs. And I'm already familiar with some of the names and their talents and their reputations that are kind of just looking in from the outside, waiting for this to pop off, and they're quite exceptional.
Well, I think what y'all are doing for the artistic space is alone and reshaping it is pretty awesome. It's kind of hard to wrap the mind around all the rewards, but we also have royalties and DAO creation. I want to talk and transition a little bit about your DAO because, I mean, y'all reward in XRP, which I think there's not too many places that are doing that, or you are aligning with places that are doing that. So I think that's really important. I think that shows credibility, because a lot of people will create their own token and reward people in it, but they will not reward in the main chain, token, so to speak.
Right.
And so I think that's extremely awesome. If anyone who's interested in XRP wants to get more XRP passively, it's always a great way to look into it. But tell me about the DAO, because you're gonna have all these artists, and they're all gonna be, I guess, at the whim of the DAO. Like, tell me about this.
So the DAO is also something that's a little bit out into the future of the roadmap, but not too far, because it will start once we start minting collections. Well, once we start minting the Astral collection, through via the royalties that are created through secondary sales, a portion of those will go into creating the DAO. The DAO will be responsible for using the community to both poll and vote which artists should be bumped up to the top of the mint list, so to speak, if we're going to take it in sequence. So for one thing, that's one purpose behind it. The other purpose behind it will be able to drive the direction of the project itself. So we'll leave the ability in that to actually have the community in a decentralized way kind of help us grow and be a part of the decision making of the whole entire project. So we're really trying to use this technology to have a decentralized community effort, and DAO will be one way to do that. Now, in the early stages of the XRPL NFTs, we don't find the technology is just quite ready for a full-on DAO operating. I think that there's going to be a little bit of gap in time where we need to wait for, the hooks technology, which is the smart contract ability, and maybe some side chain action. But we want to be able to provide a DAO so that the community is involved in making decisions that affect the project.
Gotcha. And this is, of course, the 420 Genesis NFTs is what is empowering that DAO by the 20%, right? And is it just the Genesis NFT collection that's going to be forming that DAO?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So your founders, your founding holders are going to be the one controlling the DAO. Interesting, really cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what if they hold so well that they don't sell the NFTs?
Well, yeah, that is one point, but we just don't, we don't expect there to be. We don't expect there to be 100% staking or 100% holding. We always feel like there's going to be 5 to 10% on a good, if that would be great if we had 90% holding and 10% of the collection was on the marketplace and secondary. But we just can't ever predict those kind of things. And of course, if your scenario pops up, we may have to pivot a little bit, but that's what we do in the space. And we just adapt and go.
No, hey, if you have people that are holding that, know what you hold, if they're holding that well, then that's a really good sign. Might have to change the mechanic a bit. But,
yeah, exactly.
Really cool.
When you hold the Astral NFT, not to beat a dead horse, when you hold that Genesis NFT, you're holding something that we feel is quite valuable. It's the heaviest reward NFT that we'll ever launch. And so there is that distinction between the Genesis NFT collection of 420 and then all the other ones. All the other ones will provide shared revenue, but the Astral NFT, the Genesis NFT of the project, that will get you
things.
a lot, just an additional 10 airdrops. And that might be the easiest way to say it. I tried to make a distinction earlier that may have confused some, but my whole point behind that was just to let people know that, because I've seen projects, I've been a part of I've been an investor and buyer in projects where they make that same claim where they say, yeah, if you hold this NFT for on a month-to-month basis, every month you'll receive an NFT drop. But it's just, those aren't even liquid NFTs. They're just an NFT that they just whipped up and minted and sent to you. So that was my only distinction there that may have thrown some people off.
Yes, I'm good, JT.
Okay. Make sure, like, you look like deep in thought. Sorry, I'm not like mentioning
No.
pinch holes here. Well, but these are things I think people are gonna want to know. And when I was very intimidated. I feel like the only thing your project is even remotely guilty of is revealing so much so early, because I feel like the community can only take in so much, and your rewards are so uh so amazing that I think that's a hard time to take some of the stuff in.
We tried to go with the 50 Cent approach, Get Rich or Die Trying, the album. When he dropped
Okay.
that album, my immediate thought in real time was, why the hell did he put 9 top hit singles on a 10-track album when he could have spread those out amongst like 6-7 years and probably done better. But hey, that strategy worked for him, and it's kind of like a similar kind of an analogy there. Is we just wanted to come out strong and let people know that we were not really into this to just liquidate the XRPL community and not give anything back. So it's one of those things where we just wanted to come out and make a big splash.
And let me say, I mean, it's kind of funny. You got two twins over here, and I totally get what you're saying, JT. I feel very similarly to you a lot, and me and Jeremy go back a lot. We talk about this. There is a big vision. The vision is big. But I do relate to what you're saying. I feel like we a lot is a lot. But we are doing a lot, and we're gonna do what we can to keep simplifying the message more and more, for people to understand.
Yeah, I think that I'll work with you guys, and I look forward to building, a professional relationship, obviously, with your project, and we'll see where things go. But yeah, lots of really great things in terms of, again, the mechanics, the rewards, the artists you guys have are, and the people they've worked for, really humble individuals. I hope that they find immense success in Web3, because I would love to see all the artists come into Web3, because it would just empty the establishment of what is the entertainment industry of its power. And I would just love to see that. I would love to see them be on the edge, as like, I feel like Facebook is, turning itself into Meta. Just, that I don't see any success there personally. Like, I would love to see them scammer like that, or make some move to try. The closest I've seen is the NFTs. What is it, Vivi? I don't know if y'all are familiar.
Yeah.
Vivi. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're both familiar with Vivi. Actually, I think we were both in the beta when it just came out. And
how do you say it? I thought it was Vive. It's Vivi.
I'll call it Vivi. I don't know.
I think it's Vivi.
Sounds like a Pokemon when I say it, but yeah.
So yeah, familiar with them, and they do like a different type of NFT where they do. It's not like attributes, right? It's like one NFT. They usually have some rarity to it, but there's it's a little bit of a different style of NFT, more like a collectible.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that, like, I see that move, and it's not migrating the artist. You know what I mean? That's just like, okay, well, we can make pretty things for the people that like our stuff and collectibles, like you said. But I want to take a second and go back to helping the artists here and changing the space, because I feel like that is one of the, if not all the rewards and everything is amazing for what you're doing. But the reason behind what you're doing, I really want to know, how are you guys going to compellingly move the dial from the entertainment industry into Web3,
Yeah.
and I also want to just caveat that question with, what are your standards on the back end of that? Because yeah.
Well,
So
Jeremy, why don't you let me talk about the real quick the pipeline to the independent artist world? I mean, that's kind of what you meant? How are we helping artists, like not already established artists like Charles and Mike, right? Like you mean like the ones we're helping on board independent artists and things?
Well, there's that side. Let's start there, but then I would like to understand the corporate
I think I
side
can
of things
I
too.
think I can get to that question. And I think what you're asking is how do we compel artists to go to the Web3 over a Web2 process? And that's simple. We offer them 95% of the sales of their NFT, and we offer them 70% of the royalties on their first release. On the second release and all other releases under our label, they get 100% of the sales and they get 90% of the royalties. So we've kind of made it unfair. We made it an unfair fight because we're giving the artists practically everything. So that's one reason. And, as we all know, music NFTs are digital assets. So, it's much different from then just putting a CD out or a downloadable song where it has no real benefit besides the consumption of it. The first utility of music and art is the art and the music. But going beyond that is what we see in Web3, being able to do other things. But I mean, that's maybe answering your question a little bit.
Yeah. And in terms of the independent artists, that's super helpful in attracting new talent and being able to, like, if I was still in college and I was going for for video games, animated movies, I might hit you all up to help me make an NFT collection, to help get my names out there, as well as rub shoulders with the talent that you guys have. It seems like a great opportunity for anyone who's in that situation.
Yeah.
In hindsight, for me at least. But the I guess there's that side of it, and then there's, how do you you talked about onboarding. I'm really interested in your onboarding process and your standards of quality. Like, who are you going to turn away?
So good question. Let me take that real quick, and then Jonathan can talk about some of the onboarded artists he's already onboarded. But just as to take on the standard question, we essentially get emails from the website, or we get contacted directly, and we're very open. But our first step is to have the artist send over their songs. And most of them that have applied to be on the label are on some of these apps, some of these popular apps for artists that are already existing in Web2 music. And they have a Spotify, or they have a BandLab, or they have this app or that app. And they're able to, we ask them to send over that content and we review it. Now, when it comes to the standard of what makes it acceptable or not, really our main thing is nothing to do with the genre of the music. It has all to do with just a certain standard of music production. So if it sounds like they recorded the vocals in like a hollowed out refrigerator or something in their backyard, then that is not going to cut it. Now, if it sounds like, if it sounds pretty good and it's got a good quality of sound to it, that's the first thing we look for. When it comes to the actual music itself, I mean, we're not going to say, oh, you doing country music. We don't like country music. That doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
If it's good, we want it. And because we feel strongly that we can promote anything that's good. So really it comes down to just a production standard, to be honest.
So it's more about production quality than your perception of whether it's good or not. You're going to let the market make that decision.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we have just onboarded 2 new artists. They haven't been officially loaded on yet, but they've gone through the process. And one of them's 17 years old and another one's 15 years old. So we asked them the same thing. Send us over your songs. How many songs do you have at this same production value level or standard? and from there we just take the conversation forward, and then it ends up being it comes around to a process where we launch them and announce them as part of the label.
Okay. I don't see these people on your website though. So how are you advertising them? How are you helping them? Because I mean, all these people, and I'm about to ask you who they are, Johnny, but where are they? Like,
so some of the artists that we've announced on Twitter have not made it on the website for several reasons. Either they're some of their, like, we want them to have their entire NFT visual layer completed before we do that.
okay.
So it's just a matter of where each artist is in their process of completing their product. And that involves not only the music file, but an artist visual layer. Some artists that we actually help them with, and others provide their own visual layer. And once that's completed, then we'll add them to the website.
Okay. Awesome. Sorry, Johnny. And who are some of these people? Like, who's the talent y'all have been acquiring? And can you tell me about their abilities?
Well, the three that come to mind, our first three independent artists are JOC. JOC is on Spotify. You can search his name on Spotify as well and find him there. He's an R&B singer, very talented. He is one. We have Nessie the Rilla. He's on Twitter. He has launched some music NFT collection already on I believe on Ethereum blockchain, and he's joining us to drop a collection. And then we have and he's out of Detroit, and JOC is out of DC area of Maryland.
Is it Young JOC?
No, just JOC, JAYOC. And yeah, we'll be promoting them more. We're launching our established artists first, putting them first, and then our independent artists will be launched, shortly thereafter. We want to do that first, and then we have B-Wise, official, who is hailing originally from New York, hailing from Detroit right now as well, and a very talented person, very talented artist, hip hop genre, rap. So you have R&B and two hip hop artists. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, we also just onboarded our first band. So they're actually like an alternative hip hop rock sort of mashup style band, and so that'll be interesting to onboard them because there's multiple members, and it'll be the first sort of group band effort that we'll do. So exciting.
Gotcha. And I know we're going up on time here. Just a few more questions. I appreciate y'all's patience. Again, you're onboarding. I hear a lot of music artists. What about the visual artists, the 3D artists, the people that are posting their stuff on, the UI designers, these kinds of folks. Are these people you have sign up with you, or is this?
So I don't know if you're reading or referencing something in particular, but right now we actually, as far as the visual artists that are coming out for the project, we actually have 4 different visual art collections that are locked in to release collections. That would be, of course, the first collection is the Astral Genesis collection, the Astral NFT collection, which has the IOU token.
Okay.
That collection is the artist. I'm the artist of that collection. Then you have Mayhem Mob. That's a biker gang PFP collection, which is going to be done by Charles Rattray at InkKill Twitter. And then after that, you have a collection called the Astral Apes. So it's our first ape collection. Okay. And
there's apes everywhere. You can't get about with them.
We had to do an ape collection, man. And then following that, which will round out the year, because I believe we'll be minting all these before the end of the year.
Oh wow. Okay.
Is the Infinity Project, which is something we feel that it's pretty unique because it already has a 5,000 word story behind it. So it's easily categorized as a story intensive NFT collection where the actual storyline is going to play a big part in the NFT collection. It's full of spaceships, PFPs, different alien species, and also environments too. So those are all the art collections that we have on tap and in store for the community.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I was just trying to figure out again if it's, like a label that people are attaching themselves to you. I've never been a part of a label before. It sounds kind of like a little bit like a union, that you're all uh, collectively grouping your talents together. And I'm really interested again on the corporate side of things. If I'm hoping you all take off. A lot of artists flock to you, of course, and you are helping them. Will you be negotiating with do you see yourself negotiating with like Disney or Sony to help these people get better contracts, or what? Do y'all
Yeah,
have anything in mind? If things go ideally super well for you, I guess is my
yeah,
question.
I guess you could say that it's in the back of, I think, almost any NFT project that's doing something similar as us, that we would somehow get a knock on a door someday and say, hey, we're a Web 2 powerhouse, like a Disney or a Sony or Atlantic Records or whoever, and they come and they say, we'd like to acquire you. I mean, we've the thought has crossed our mind, and we're not, we think about that, and we're working hard for somebody to find us attractive enough to make an offer. But that's not something that we think about on a day-to-day basis. We're more concerned with building it out, and if somebody wants to come in and throw down some kind of acquisition or merger, then we'd be open to it for sure, as long as, again, our holders and our community are on board, and everybody feels like it's a good move for the project.
Gotcha. Well, I think that's it for me for questions. I was waiting for some for the community, but if you have questions, make sure to put them in the comments below. Always try to answer anything I can, and try to, if I have Jeremy and Johnny and everyone come on, then would love to be able to have more for them. Maybe we'll make another video with some visuals to help the community truly understand the power that is Astrals. But y'all have any last things to say before we go, or?
Oh, I just want to say that we appreciate coming on here, JT. Appreciate your time spent, your preparation for this, and it's just been a real pleasure to meet you in the last month or so, the last few months, and really looking forward to everything that's going on. I know that our project is so wide-reaching and can kind of get complex a little bit, but at the end of the day, the only thing that the listeners should really be concerned with or focus on now would be the X Astral token, which gets you the Astral NFT. That NFT sort of serves as a gateway into the project. Once you hold that NFT, you're really going to be having your teeth in the project. Tons of utility, of course. And then after that, it'll just be collections that we launch. And it'll just be quite simple. Yeah, there'll be some revenue sharing for those collections, but it won't be such a massive utility like 4 different things, all backed by one NFT like the Astral NFT. But we feel that's where the value is going to come for the Astral NFT. It really serves as a big platform to jump into our project and get in early. In fact, there's only 420 of them, so it's a very scarce supply.
You got your Astral JT yet?
Not yet. But
Get it
I saw
done.
there's 74% taken, so I was
Yeah.
like, I better get on that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'll just finish by saying, thanks for having us. I mean, yeah, definitely look forward to talking to you again at some point in the future. Looking forward to having you as a holder. Like Jeremy said, yeah, there's a big vision and there's a lot going on, but we're like, if there's anybody that wants to reach out, clarify anything, they can always hit Jeremy on in the Discord, myself in the Discord. Jeremy on Twitter, hit the DMs. We're kind of available, open, and type people in that regard. So if anybody has any questions, they can always just hit us up direct.
Gotcha. Well, I can definitely see the value in the crypto side of things, but I also have to say, as an artist, just thank y'all for what y'all are doing. I think it's there's great potential in what you all are doing, and I think that if I was a younger artist and if I was kind of trying to make my way in my art as I wanted to when I was younger, that this would be a great opportunity to rub shoulders with the art community that you're building and to be a part of something at the start. So really cool stuff, guys.
Appreciate you.
Yep. Well, thank you so much. I'm JTXRP. This is Jeremy and Johnny, and we're out.
See ya.